My name's Weil, and I moved to Pittsburgh from Israel, where I was living for about 11 years, but prior to that, I grew up in about 15 different cities across the United States. I'm the Executive Director and CEO of the Hillel Jewish University Center here in Oakland. I came to the region about 8.5 years ago. I was living in Israel, where I owned a marketing and public relations firm, and my family decided it was time to move back to the United States. We looked all over the United States, and having never been to Pittsburgh, we literally chose it off of a map, but we'd also heard from some friends in Israel that Pittsburgh was famous for having an incredible community. What was important to us was a very strong Jewish community, and Pittsburgh had that, but we wanted to live in an urban place where there was a strong city center, where we wouldn't have to deal with long commuting times. And Pittsburgh has been all of that. It's an amazing community, and we love it. When I left Israel and I was looking for a place to live in the United States, we were looking for a city, or no, first we looked for a city. That was the most important to us. But we were also looking for professional opportunities. We looked in Washington, D.C., New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and what we found in Pittsburgh was that we could find a lot of professional opportunities for myself and for my wife, but also in a big city that's in a small footprint. And that was really important to us because we didn't want to have to deal with a lot of commuting, and we found that there's a huge professional community here, largely because of the universities and all the kind of ancillary businesses around it. One of the best things about Pittsburgh is what it offers young families. I can just imagine, I speak to my colleagues in other cities, the quality of life that they've got and the quality of life that we have here in Pittsburgh. And if you add up the amount of time that people spend commuting, the cost of going out to arts and cultural events, the incredible restaurants that we have here in Pittsburgh. I know people may think, okay, compared to New York, maybe we don't have as many, but if you figure how many restaurants you're going to go to in a year, Pittsburgh has more than we can possibly get to. So I think Pittsburgh's attractions are that it has a first-class airport, it's got great professional community, lots of job opportunities, a growing job market, and it's got a low cost of living that makes it really great for young families who are looking to enjoy all the things that happen when you're not at work. And to be able to do that and still get back to work. I can go to my child's school and see a play on my lunch hour and still get back to work. Try that in Los Angeles or New York. Involved in the community in a lot of things. First off, through my kids' school. Secondly, we're members of the Jewish Community Center here in Squirrelville, and I'm involved in a few political things around the community. Obviously, the Hillel Jewish University Center has a whole range of activities that keep me active as well. We serve an audience of around 5,000 young adults between the ages of 18 and 29, so there's a very vibrant young adult community here as well. And between that, when I'm not working, I'm usually at a Steelers game or checking out what's going on in our excellent museums. Yeah, our Hillel is actually one of the largest Hillel programs in the country, largely due to the strength of our universities that we serve, predominantly the University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon, but also Duquesne and Point Park. So our mission is to provide a vibrant community for the 5,000 young Jewish adults that we serve, but also, and more importantly, or maybe equally as important, is to provide them with the skills to create their own community. So 95% of our students aren't from the region. We want to give them, while they're here, the tools that they need to create their own community, and for as many of them as we can, to create the opportunities to connect them to our community. We have a program called Hometown Pittsburgh, where we work with college students and graduate students to connect them with mentors in our community to get jobs upon graduation. So our job is to teach them how to be leaders wherever they may go, and hopefully connect them with the opportunities to choose to stay in Pittsburgh after graduation. So I got involved in Hillel when my family decided to leave Israel. We were looking for a community, and oddly enough, we chose Pittsburgh before we even had a job, which usually people think when you're moving, you look for the job first. But we were looking for a community more important than anything. Actually, after living in Israel for 10 years, we were looking for a city that had 4 seasons of weather. And you can imagine the hot summers of Israel. Pittsburgh summers are magnificent. They're very mild, and the winters are also mild, so we really enjoy that. The job really was secondary. I'm Jewish, and I love working with college students, and I love leadership development, and so Hillel was really kind of a natural for that. But the Jaybird component was very important. Our Hillel is kind of at the national forefront in creating a program like Jaybird. In fact, there's only Seattle is the only other city that has a program of our size directed towards keeping young adults in the region. And what we found is that while we were creating Jaybird, there were programs like Vibrant Pittsburgh that were also out there creating programs to get young adults and young families to move to the region. So we're really moving in the Jewish community at the same time that other communities of diversity in Pittsburgh are working towards creating opportunities to not only retain our young adults, but to create spaces for when the young adults are leaving some of the Rust Belt cities of Detroit or Cleveland or Minneapolis, that they're finding that a place like Pittsburgh is a place not only that they can come to from a community point of view, but that there are programs where young adults can see that, hey, there's vibrancy here. And for me, that was really an exciting opportunity. Coming from a marketing background, that was an opportunity for me not only to move to a new place, but to become a part of the community. Pittsburgh's really amazing in the way that it adapts to newcomers. Some cities have a reputation of not being very welcoming to newcomers, like Baltimore. Pittsburgh doesn't have that. Pittsburgh is a very welcoming community, has a tradition of welcoming newcomers, and that was really important to us in choosing a city. We wanted a place that we could come to and make a difference.
Thanks.
When we came here, members of the Jewish community, literally, our first experience was going to Weiss's house, and Amy Weiss took our kids. We literally went to their house, and my kids were like toddlers, and she said, "We'll watch your kids." And Lou Weiss took us out to Weiss's house and helped us get the furniture that we needed, and the other people in the community helped us out. And within a couple of days, we were able to, kind of really rebuild our life here. And I really believe that that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the way that the Jewish community had a program like Shalom Pittsburgh. In fact, Shalom Pittsburgh contacted us in Israel, helped rewrite my resume, and they set up interviews for us here in Pittsburgh. That's how hard they worked to try and get us to come to Pittsburgh. We were looking at other cities, but Shalom Pittsburgh, which is a program of the Jewish Federation, they really worked hard to make Pittsburgh a very easy choice. Building a professional network in Pittsburgh was very easy, largely I think because of the universities. The universities attract a fairly large population that are from out of town, and therefore there's already kind of a built-in network where it's a network built on a network. Pittsburghers already are very good at networking with one another, which if you're from here is fantastic, but they're also open to out-of-towners. And so if you can use those two networks together, it creates a community that really has one goal in mind, and that's advancing the region. And if you're interested in that, there's no shortage of opportunities, of networking opportunities, whether they're cultural, social, educational. This community is really built to network. Advice to newcomers choosing to come to Pittsburgh, the first thing I would say is live in the city. There's many cities in the United States to choose from, but there's really aren't that many that have what Pittsburgh has to offer in a large city in a small footprint. And so the real benefit of living in Pittsburgh is choosing to live in the city, because it's a city that you can afford to live in. We have quality schools, we have affordable housing, we've got a mayor that has a bike consultant on the staff, so it's a very green city. So the benefits are incredible of living in the city itself. Once you're in the city, it's a lot easier to network around. I would advise people to take advantage of programs like Vibrant Pittsburgh, and also to use online. This is an incredibly wired city, so there's a lot of online resources. In fact, one of the reasons we chose Pittsburgh over other cities was the volume of websites that we found available on Pittsburgh, and it just told us this was a city. I mean, obviously, Israel's very high-tech. We wanted a city that was similarly high-tech, and Pittsburgh is incredibly wired and turned on. So finding those online resources really made it easy.